न खाऊंगा न खाने दूंगा, ये थी घोषणा 2014 की। अभी गारंटी में परिवर्तित हुई है और ये गारंटी है कि मैं भी खाऊंगा और मेरे दोस्तों को बहुत कुछ खिलाऊंगा। नथिंग लेस देन एक्सटॉर्शन, नथिंग लेस देन क्विड प्रो क्वो। आप ये करो, हम आपके लिए ये करेंगे। The assault on secularism and the assault on the Indian Constitution itself. For the last few years, when the BJP rule began, we are facing nothing less than an undeclared emergency in this country. What is the reason for this attack on journalists? What is the reason for this attack on democracy? The BJP government is taking in this country. It has done it for the last 10 years. One is repression, and the second is communalism, casteism, dividing the people. The most serious matter before the country is the assault on democracy, the assault on secularism, and the assault on the Indian Constitution itself. The assault on journalists is actually a very integral part of these attacks. And we have said it, all of us have said it before, we say it again today. For the last few years, when the BJP rule began, we are facing nothing less than an undeclared emergency in this country. There was a time from 1975 to 77 when there was a declared emergency in the country. And we know what happened in the 1977 general elections, when the people of India threw out all those who had brought in the emergency in this country, and the regime was thrown out. I dare say that today we are meeting at a very historic juncture. What is the reason for this attack on journalists? What is the reason for this attack on democracy? The attack stems from the fact that we have seen the scandalous situation of the electoral bonds and what they mean. न खाऊंगा न खाने दूंगा, ये थी घोषणा 2014 की। ये सभी जुमलेबाजी अभी गारंटी में परिवर्तित हुई है और ये गारंटी है कि मैं भी खाऊंगा और मेरे दोस्तों को बहुत कुछ खिलाऊंगा। And exactly to hide this is the attack on democracy, is the attack on journalists, and also, I don't want to take too much of your time, many others are going to speak, but let me just remind you of one thing. The British rule in India lasted for 200 years on the basis of two pillars. One pillar was the attack on the people, there was no question of democracy there at all, but complete repression. All of us know what happened here in Delhi in 1857. All of us know what happened to Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Sukhdev, Chandrasekhar Azad, Ashfaqullah Khan. All of us know how many years so many of our best sons were thrown into Andaman jail. And except for one of them, nobody gave a maafi nama. So all this repression, that was one thing that they did it. And the second way that the British ruled over India for 200 years was what we have all learned in our schools and colleges, the doctrine of divide and rule. And that is exactly these two issues. These two are the strategies that today the BJP government is taking in this country. It has done it for the last 10 years. One is repression and the second is communalism, casteism, dividing the people. But the idea of India and the genius of India lies in the fact that the people will realize what is going on. And under the guise of all this, it is their crony corporates which are gaining tremendously. We have seen corporates who were 609 in the world richest people in 2014 coming to number 2 at the end of 2022. No need to take names. All of you know it. And then what happens after the Hindenburg thing, etc. So therefore, and we have seen on the other hand, the attacks on the common people, on the working people, on the working class, on the peasantry, on agricultural workers, on students, youth, women, Dalits, Adivasis, Muslims, and also on the large majority of Hindus. Let me underline that. We often forget that. 82% of this India consists of Hindus. But most of the Hindus, along with the Muslims, along with the Sikhs, along with the all other religions, they are also being targeted by this crony corporate rule. This is the point that we also have to underline in the coming days. So that is the point. But resistance is also growing. We have seen just 2 days ago, on the 14th of March, we saw a huge rally of the Sanyukta Kisan Morcha at the Ram Leela grounds. And I was surprised. The most surprising thing that I saw was that the Times of India and the Economic Times gave a photo and a news. Wonderful. Something is changing. They are being forced to change. For years they have not stopped covering except for the early days of that historic farmer struggle led by the SKM. But today they are forced to give it. Every single paper had to give that big rally. And therefore, the working people, things are changing. And I'm sure that all the journalists here, Jagish talked about Prabir Purkayastha. Prabir Purkayastha, I have known him right from my SFI days. He was doing his SFI in Delhi, I was in Mumbai. And we know, along with Safdar Hashmi, along with so many others, and he was arrested during the 1975 to 77 emergency, Prabir. And today, he is being arrested under the undeclared emergency under UAPA. History is turning full circle. This is the situation today. NewsClick, the kind of targeting of NewsClick, it's something abominable. Something abominable. I'll give you my experience. The March 2018 Kisan Long March in Maharashtra, all of you are aware of that. That was truly a historic kind of a thing. For 7 days, 40 to 50,000 farmers, they marched day and night. For the first 2 or 3 days, nobody gave anything. But it was NewsClick which was covering that march from day one. There were only 2 channels or whatever who were covering that from day one, and I want to put those on record today in this meeting. One was NewsClick and the other was PARI, People's Archive of Rural India, headed by P. Sainath. These were the 2 who covered that Kisan Long March right from the beginning, and when it became no longer possible to ignore, then the entire entire mainstream media, then they covered it, and of course that we are very grateful that they covered it, and that was in a way the big struggle in Rajasthan led by the All India Kisan Sabha. The big struggle in Maharashtra, this Kisan Long March, again led by the All India Kisan Sabha, which actually in a way paved the way for the later big peasant struggles which became joint, and we are very happy that all the farmers organizations in India came together in the leadership of the Sanyukta Kisan Morcha. All the trade unions came together led by the central trade unions, and we had a huge convention in Talkotora Maidan in the indoor stadium, where all the workers organizations, all the peasant organizations came together in a rare kind of unity, first time achieved since independence. I am sure as a result of all our efforts, and all of you have been fighting, I am very proud of the Wire, especially, let me make that as a thing, the alternative media. There are many others who are fighting with their back to the wall, and they are very courageously fighting. I don't want to mention all the names, but there are many. There are many. Certainly, all these fights will not go in vain. And the genius of the Indian people will surely assert itself in the coming whole thing. The whole electoral bonds thing which is coming now in front of us, absolutely nothing less than extortion. Nothing less than extortion. Nothing less than quid pro quo. आप ये करो, हम आपके लिए ये करेंगे. सीधी बात है. और यही बोल रहे हैं. They are employing the ED and the CBI and this and that against their political opponents. All these are efforts to try and see that they don't come under the scanner. Today, fortunately, as a result of one of the rare good judgments of the Supreme Court of India, I am again mentioning rare, I am underlining that, good that they have given this judgment. As a result of it, at least the whole hornet's nest has come out. It's a very good thing. I congratulate once again the Delhi Union of Journalists, all of us. Let us all go forth for the campaign tomorrow to see that the Constitution wins, democracy wins, secularism wins, the working people of India win in this battle. Thank you very much.
नेशनल दस्तक की आपसे गुजारिश है कि अगर इसको बचाना चाहते हैं तो नेशनल दस्तक को सब्सक्राइब करने के लिए रेड कलर के सब्सक्राइब बटन को दबाएं, फिर बेल आइकन की घंटी दबाएं। नेशनल दस्तक को बचाने के लिए बहुत जरूरी है कि हर खबर को शेयर करें, लाइक करें, कमेंट जरूर करें।